Today in the kitchen, we're making apple pie. I'm starting with 1 1/4 cups of gluten-free flour to make the pie crust. On the bottom, we're making it from scratch. On the top, we're going to use something else. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of sugar, and mix that together. And then I'm using a stick of butter, which is 1/2 cup. And then using the pastry blender, I'm gonna blend in the butter with the pastry blender and just using the blades on that and pushing it into the flour. For the gluten-free flour, I use the Just About gluten-free flour. If you are using the flour on this, just use any cup for cup flour. Or if you are not gluten-free, you can also use the same recipe with the same measurements with regular flour. Okay, I have a cup that I have ice and water in. I'm gonna measure out 1/4 cup of water out of that, and then I'm gonna set that to a side, and we're just gonna add the water a little bit at a time. I kind of split it up into threes, so I'll add 1/3 of that 1/4 cup right now. We're gonna mix this up. And then add in a little bit more water. Mix that up some more. And then I'm going to add in the rest of the water. Continue to mix that up. I'm just going to kind of mix this together with a silicone spatula and getting it off the sides. Okay, now that we have that all mixed together, we're going to form this into a ball. With the gluten-free flour texture, it does make it a little crumbly, so you do have to force it together in making the ball. I've got this all rolled into a ball, and this is what it looks like. And we're gonna get our pie dish to put the pie crust in. I'm gonna lightly grease this with Pam. And then I'm just gonna take the dough and press it into the pie dish. And then I'm just gonna press the dough and then keep forming it into the pie crust that I want it to be. You can be decorative with the pie crust if you would like. I'm just gonna go with a basic pie crust and nothing too fancy. Once I flattened it out onto the bottom, I do bring it and raise it up to the sides. And once I've brought it up to the sides, I just try to go around it and make it all a little bit even and have a little bit of lip to that on the side. Okay, I feel like the pie crust is where I want it to be now, and so it's ready to start making the filling. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to gather the apples. For the apples, I'm using 3 green Granny Smiths and 3 pink ladies. I'm going to cut these in half and then in fours, and I'm gonna peel them and core them. And then once I've peeled and cored them, I'm gonna slice them up. With the apples, you can use any variation of apples. You just want to use 6 apples. You can use green, red, whichever brand that you like. And then when you're done slicing them up, you want to put them into a large mixing bowl. I'm going to finish cutting up the apples, and then we're going to add in the seasoning for the filling. As you're cutting up the apples, it's a good time to go ahead and preheat your oven to 425 degrees. Okay, I've cut up all the apples and we have them here in this large Pyrex bowl, and I'm gonna add 3/4 cups of sugar, two tablespoons of gluten-free flour, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And we're gonna mix that all together and making sure that the apples are coated well with the spices. Okay, we've mixed that all together, and now I'm gonna get the pie crust that we made earlier, and we're gonna pour the apples into this to make the filling. It is a lot of apples, but these will cook down, so you might need to pour in half of it and then kind of move them around so that they can be flatter, and then pour in the second half. Now we've got all the apples in, and I'm just kind of pushing them down a little bit so that they can all be in here. It will cook down, so it is okay if it is overflowing at first. Just kind of push them down, and then when it's in the oven cooking, then it will be perfect. I've got them all in the pie dish how I would like it, and now I'm going to use the Sweet Loren's puff pastry, and I'm going to get out a cutting board, and we're going to place that onto the cutting board, and we're going to cut it into strips to put on top of the apple pie. As you're getting out the Sweet Loren's puff pastry, it is rolled up, so you may have to mess with it a little bit to straighten it out. Okay, I've got it pretty much flat now. I'm gonna take a knife and I'm gonna just use 2 fingers as a guide and to cut it into 8 strips. I'm just gonna make a crisscross weaving pattern on here. So I'm gonna use 4 strips going this way, and you may have to maneuver them around to kind of space them out. And then the next 4 strips, I'm going to weave them in and out of the ones that we just placed going the other way. I've never used the Sweet Loren's puff pastry on top of the apple pie, but I'm trying it out today. This is actually the second time that I've used the Sweet Loren's puff pastry, and I really liked using it with the blueberry pastry that I made, and I can link that down below if you would like to check that out. I'm just going to tuck in the ends into the pie and kind of mesh them in with the pie crust that we made earlier. Okay, we have all of our strips on there, and that is the top crust for the apple pie. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar, and I'm going to sprinkle that all over the top of the apple pie. And then I'm going to use 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon and sprinkle that on top. Okay, now the apple pie is ready to go into the oven. We're going to bake it for 40 minutes until it's golden brown on top. Okay, the timer just went off and it's been baking for 40 minutes. We're going to take it out of the oven. And I'm going to place it on a cooling rack for at least an hour. It's been cooling for about an hour, so now we're ready to cut it up and serve. Using the Sweet Loren's puff pastry allowed for the top to be a super flaky crust. However, you can make 2 batches of the pie crust and put one on the bottom and one on the top if you don't have the Sweet Loren's puff pastry. And we're going to serve with vanilla ice cream from H-E-B. You can find the full recipe in the description box down below. Enjoy, dinner is served. Thank y'all for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe and let us know if you made apple pie. We'll see you next time in the kitchen.